Hello, Sasha. Thank you for having this with us. And I'll let you start talking.
Okay, thank you, Kevin, and hello everyone. First, welcome to Austria, where this is the place where I grew up. And we are in our tasting room, which is just above the most important vineyards for us. The first thing, it's the vineyards around us, the historical vineyard of my family, which my grandfather bought this vineyard in 1923. This vineyard was a little bit less than 3 hectares, where my grandfather started to plant the vines, and where he started to make some wine. And my father basically was starting from these 3 hectares, and now we expand a lot to we are now on basically 17 hectares of grapes, of vines. We are in Austria, which is very close to Slovenian border. Then actually Slovenia, it's all around us, but this mountain, it's the mountain Sabotino, which is basically the border between Slovenia and Italy, and it's where few of the biggest battles of the World War I they comes out. And this is even really, we are into Slovenian land. The vineyard around us, it's all it's on the top of the hill. It's planted with Ribolla and Merlot, and on the bottom of the hill here we have Tokai Fiorano, and under the Merlot we have some Pignolo, which is a local variety. Which we have planted in 1998 for the first time. At the moment, the season it's almost finished. We did all the biggest works we have to do. We already take all the leaves off, and we obviously, as every year, we reduce a part of the production. In this vintage we should cut off a lot of grapes because the production was very gentle, and then we basically want to produce only less than 1 kilo of grape per vine. Then one vine generally in this area produce 2 kilos of grape, and we generally take off more than half because we just want to produce less, because less grapes means even less quality. But even the most important thing is that if we have less grapes, we can have these grapes completely ripe, and which is very important for the work we should do in the cellar. We work all organic. We don't use any big pesticides. We only use copper and sulfur for the treatments. And these 2 things are the most easy things we can use. But we are even trying to reduce a lot this copper and sulfur in using more natural things like propolis, which is basically it's a bee wax sub-product, and we used even some extract from oranges, which is even very useful for a few diseases. Apart of this, we are not using nothing more. In the vineyards now, the works, as I told you, it's basically finished. We are waiting for the harvest, which can be mainly the color of the grapes is starting to change. But I think I hope in 40 days we start the harvest, which means will be generally around 10th of September. We generally start the harvest in that period, and the harvest takes like 1 month. Even if we don't work every day, we only work like 15 days, more or less. And in this period, because we should stop the harvest, because some parcels are so different, then we don't. We should stop because some of the grapes are not ready yet.
Sasha, I'm going to ask you a question, Sasha, because I want to know. Because this is a moment in the vineyards that's important. You're going to begin the green harvesting now, and it'll be finished when? By the beginning of August, or?
It's already finished this year.
It's already done. Okay.
It's already done. Yeah, we already finished everything. Yeah, we generally do the grain harvest in this period exactly, but this year we saw that we was able to finish it before, and because it's the grapes are a little bit more ripe than it used to be, and we see that we can do it now, and then we did it.
And it's something you do every year. Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mostly every year, not in all the vineyards, because the really old vineyards, they need this work much less, because obviously an old vine is becoming more serious, and then it's, the old vine is producing much less grapes compared to the young vine. Young vines are always very strong, and they try to make more than what they can make ripe. And the old vines, they produce much less, and then basically it's always very good to. It's always very ripe. There's no problem of overproducing for the old vines.
let me ask you another question though, related to that. What is the choice of doing the green harvest versus doing a shorter pruning in the winter? Is it because of risk of frost? Is it risk of weather patterns in the spring? Tell me.
It's a part of the risks, yeah, frost and all these things. But we are doing the short pruning. We only have 6 buds per vine. For example, Merlot and Ribolla, it's always pruned like with 6 good buds. But 6 buds means 6 shoots, but many times every shoot produces more than 2 bunches, more than 2 clusters, and then we only want 1, because we have the single shoot with a single cluster, with a single bunch, and with the shoot to produce sugar, which is the best conditions for the grapes to be ripe.
That makes total sense. Thank you. That helps a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Another few vineyards you can see from here. It's much more difficult to see, but what I want to show you, we slowly move to the vineyard in front of us, which is the vineyard we planted in 2017. Yeah, I want to see. We planted in 2017. It's very difficult to see, but it's okay. It's somewhere there. Basically, we replanted all the vineyards like we do now, with all small, very small terraces, because we want to respect the hills as much as we can. And this is the way we want to do, because years ago we had big problems with the landslides, and then what we decided is we try to respect the hill as much as we can, and then we try to keep it only for 2 rows and not more. Like you see, this vineyard is close to the cellar. It's only planted with 2 rows for every terrace. This means that you go down very slowly, but it's very steep. I mean, it's more than 50 meters from here to the bottom of this hill, of just this level. What do you think? We can make the video explain the new project we are doing in Hum.
Sasha, please explain.
Yeah, I'm talking. This is Ribolla. This Ribolla, it's made it's in Hum, which is one of the nicest vineyards we have. This video was taken today, and what we want to show, it's the same way, small terraces, respecting the natural way of the hill. And this is a nice place because it's basically an amphitheater. You can see the sea over there, and but the vineyard is planted with the Ribolla where the zone is now, and where the guy is spraying now, this is Pignolo, which it's used for the Pignoli wine and for the RS. Today we did, I hope, the last spraying. Then it was made. Then we think that this is. I hope that it's the last spraying. And what we are going to see now, slowly, it's going on the right side. It's the new vineyard we are making now. Just in these days, we are remaking the vineyard, which was planted with an old Ribolla, but we had big problems with the landslide. And the part on the slowly it's arriving. The Tokai Fiulano is where we are now on the right side. It's Tokai Fiulano, and now hopefully it's turning. And it shows you the new vineyard on the right, which is going to be made. I hope we plant next year. And we had big problems with landslide because there was a lot of water underground, and we make a big drainage to take out all the water. And now we are slowly making the terraces. Even here will be only two terraces per rows for every terrace. And then this is some olives we have in the middle of the vineyards. The vineyard in front of us, it's Ribolla Gialla, and the Pignolo is under us. Then this is one of the nicest vineyards. This is why I want to show you something which is a bit different and a bit, I mean, something which is very nice to show.
That was great.
Yeah, it's finished, right? Yeah. Then okay. I think we can even go to the cellar. The cellar video I made this morning. It's again, we have no connections in the cellar. Then I made the video before, and I will talk in the video. Then let's do this now.
We're going to it now.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Radikon, and this is our winery. Our cellar, this is a cellar where we make the skin contact. All the skin contact we do is made in oak vats, and during the harvest the grapes are distilled and crushed, and we put in these vats for the fermentation of the skins. All our wines are made with skin contact. In particular for the wines we have two groups of wine, S-line, Slatnik and Sivi. They make only 10 days on the skins, and the principal wines of our winery is Oslawie, Ribolla and Jakub. They make a much longer skin contact. We can consider that contact with the skins is between 2 and 4 months. Then in this particular case, we do the first 20 days on the skins with the real fermentation and maceration. We make a punch down 4 times a day at the beginning and slowly less and less. And after that, when the fermentation is finished, we fill up the vats and we close them, because we want to keep the skins inside to extract something more, but we don't need any contact with oxygen, then we don't need oxidation. It's very important to avoid the oxidation, because all these wines and all this work is made completely without sulfur, and then all these wines are completely without sulfur. Some of them they are even bottled without, but some of them we are only add before bottling. After the 4 months, Oslawie, Jakub and Ribolla, they make another period in oak, which is around 3 years, and after that 2 years in bottle at least before we come to the market. And Slatnik and Sivi, they make, as I told you, 8 to 10 days on the skins, and 1 year in big oak barrels, and after that they are bottled and they go to the market a bit earlier. Now we can go to the other part of the cellar where we have the aging. This is a part of the cellar where we age the red wines. You see that the smaller volume barrels. They are 6 hectoliters barrels, and in these barrels we use them mainly for reds. Our reds are Merlot, Modri, and Pignoli, which are the principal reds. And then we have the new red we started to make a few years ago called RS, which is mainly in this kind of barrels. This is a 6 hectoliters, which is very traditional size. My grandfather, he was using the barrels between 5 and 7 hectoliters, and then we find this of 6, which are very, very nice. And all the wines, we age them in in big oak barrels. This is 3,500 liters barrel, and on this we have all the whites, which they stay longer, but even Slatic and CB, they stay in the same barrels. And we mainly use this we only use this for whites. Yeah, that's it. At the moment in the cellar we have the oldest vintage, it's 2017, which is going to be bottled the end of this year. And we have 18 and 19 obviously.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. It's great.
Okay. Then this is the video was made because I want to show you the cellar, and we can go without any connections. But I can explain you a little bit better because the harvest is very close. And then a few things we are doing like the last 5 years. One of the few things we are doing is trying to keep as much as we can separate the different parcels during the fermentation. Then basically we have more Pinot Grigio, but we have our Pinot Grigio. It's made in different vineyards, for example. And what we are doing now is trying to keep them separate as much as we can, because we have some of the Pinot Grigio we harvest very early, but it can be even 10 to 15 days of difference between the harvesting on the first Pinot Grigio to the last. And then we try to keep them as much as we can separately, because I think that the different vineyards, they can make different fermentations and they can still have different results. Even if after that, we are blending all the Pinot Grigio together, but what I want is to extract as much as we can the typicity of the vineyard from the single wine, and then blend all together. Otherwise, if you blend all together at the beginning for the same grapes, you can the result it's a bit different. I think that it's much better to have them separate. For the Slatnik, it's co-fermented. Then Slatnik, the name of Slatnik, it comes from the name of the vineyard, and the wine is made with Chardonnay and Tokai Friulano. It's 80% Chardonnay and 20% Tokai Friulano. This wine, it's co-fermented. Then we put all the grapes together, even if, again, with the different vineyards, we keep them separate. But for the Friulano and the Chardonnay, we blend in the same barrels. We have the same proportions all the time. The vineyard of Friulano we use for the Slatnik is that we have here in the bottom of this hill, and this is made. This is giving the biggest part of the Friulano to the Slatnik. For the other wines which are making longer skin contact, it's very important because we have a very long skin contact. It's between 2 and 4 months. In this period, what happens that the real first beginning, we make the punch down 3-4 times a day from the beginning, and some a bit less, slowly less in the next days. But after the first 15 to 20 days, we close these vats because we don't need any oxygen, and we really don't need to oxidize the wine. We want to keep them fresh, and at the end, in this period, it's maybe like an infusion with the skins, and these skins are kept inside of the wine. Then we can really extract a lot of things from these skins. The wine after this period, it's completely different. It's very tannic, and then these tannins and all the extraction we have during the period on the skins, they really need time. Then this is why after 2 to 4 months on the skins, we should wait at least 2 years in the barrels before we can bottle the wine, another 2 years in bottle before we sell it. Then 5 years is the period when we come out to the market, and this is what we do generally with our wines, with Ostrawie, Ribolla, and Jacob. For the reds, we have Merlot, Pignoli, and the RS. RS, it's quite a new wine. This wine, it's really different because we need to understand. It was much more difficult for me to understand how to make this wine because it's not possible to co-ferment. This is because the Merlot we use for the wine, it's ripe more or less 10 days before the Pignolo. And then for this wine, we make separate fermentations, and we blend them as wine just after the fermentation of the Pignolo. Then it stays on the skins from 10 to 14 days, and then we blend it after the Pignolo did these 14 days on the skins, and we kept in big barrels for a period, for 1 year generally, and after that it's bottled and slowly released. The other two reds are Merlot. Merlot is making like 30 days on the skins, and then 5 years in old barriques. Even if now we are using these 6 hectoliters barrels, which are for me much more traditional, and it's even much better to manage the cellar, and it's better because it's less oak and less oaky taste, but and less contact with oak. For the Pignolo, it's made more or less in the same way, then 30 to 40 days in the skins, and the same 5 years in oak, then it's bottled. After that, before we come to the market with a new red, with the Merlot, we generally taste the wine, and when we think that the wine is ready, then we release it. This is how my father did before me, and this is how I try to make after this. The biggest part of this work and these methods are obviously made by my father, and he did the biggest part of the work and the more harder work. Now I'm trying to keep his knowledge, and I'm trying to keep better as I can to the future, even if I don't want to make my father's last wine, but I just want to make something which is it is mine with the future. Okay, I think if there's some questions.
I have one that we've been discussing, you and I think a little bit. I know that there's a movement among the great producers in Oslavia to designate Oslavia as a designation. What, in your opinion, what are you putting forth to the board to as the unique quality and the specialness of the Oslavia as opposed to the rest of the Collio?
Oslavia, the first thing, it's a very particular hill, but it's not only this. I mean, in this case, we are together with, we are now 7 producers from Oslavia, which the idea was this. I mean, Oslavia is the place where the orange wines restarted the market, when they restarted to be something. And I think we can really thank to my father and Josko Gravner to have these wines in the whole world now. And I think that these wines, they should be recognized as they come from this area. And what we asked a few years ago, it was with this group, it was to have a DOCG, which it means that there's a particular hill where we can make this wine. And it can be the first DOCG with maceration on the skins for a white grape. This was the idea. We made a paper where we write all the rules for this wine, and all the producers of this area, they are making at least a small part of the ribolla made exactly in this way. Then the fermentation of the skins should be at least 14 days, and aging should be at least 3 years. And this was a big jump for us, because everybody here, even the producer, they don't make orange wines, they start to make this because we think that in this way we can recognize Oslavia as to be the origin of the orange wines as we know today. I'm in the first line with this because I really want to fight, and I really want to be a part of this thing. And I'm trying all the time to say to Consorzio Collio to let them this happening, because I hope in the future will be. And I'm still working now with some new doors are opening. Then slowly, I think we can make it. And I think in the future we can be the DOCG Ribolla di Oslavia can be a good dream.
We're 100% behind it, and think it's deserving, and we hope it goes through. Some other questions. You have the olive trees that you planted around the vineyard in whom is there any symbiosis with the vines? Are there any other plantations that you've done that help the vineyards?
The plantation of the olives, it was made by my father because he wants to to plant something on these big slopes. And the idea of to having trees on the slopes is just keeping the soil there. Then if we have some roots, we can, the hill is much more stable. And the other thing, it's still just even the eyes, they need apart. Then we really like them to see on this part of the vineyard. It's quite complicated to harvest, to pick up the olives, but we are doing this every year now. And the oil is coming out, is very good, but you can only have it here.
Could you talk a little bit about the grape Pignolo and what makes it so special?
Sure. Pignolo, it's an old Friulan variety. It was one of that varieties which after World War I, they was very close to be lost, because after the devastation of the war, everybody was trying to plant only vines which they produce a lot of grapes to make a lot of wine, because they need to produce for themselves, they need to sell it, and they even need to have something more. And Pignolo is absolutely non-productive grapes, vines. You only have very big problems with the grapes, because it's very difficult to attach to the American rootstock. It's very difficult many times, and sometimes even you have a very nice vine, but the vine is not producing grape. Then it's very difficult sometimes to understand why it's happening, but this is happening very often. And we obviously, when we see that this vine is not producing, then we should take it out and put another vine. But this takes like 4 years to understand, and then it's always a very long thing. The grapes by themselves, they are quite a small berries, very, very tannic. I can tell you a story about Pignolo. It happens a few years ago. These grapes are very tannic, in particular when they are not ripe. Then you really have to harvest them when they are completely ripe. But it happens a few years ago in August. We have always big problems with wild boar. Then all the vineyards are surrounded with nets, where the nets are all around. And in 2013, we was making nets, and the wild boar, they understood that these nets can be something serious. And then in the night before, we are almost finishing the nets. The night before, they came to the vineyards and they ate some grapes. And in this particular case, they was near the grapes of Pignolo. Then they bite the bunches and they spit it out because it was too tannic even for them. Because in August, it was impossible to eat. Then this is interesting, because even wild boar is not eating this grape when it's not ripe. When it's ripe, they eat it. Then this is I saw this, but after that the nets comes, then they never eat the grapes again. The Pignolo by themselves, it's very tannic, needs more time. Even if you have very long extraction, like for 40 days, like we do, you really need to wait. It's nice and very fruity if it's making a shorter skin contact. But still, all the tannins comes in the RS we do. It basically comes from the Pignolo, which is the more root tannins are coming from that. We need something. The Pignolo needs more time, and it's only producing few clusters, few bunches per vine. This is very interesting because you really produce a low field on these vines. But we like it. And all the flavors is coming out during the fermentation, and it's even coming out in the wines after that. It's very, very interesting.
Sasha, there's a question about the mudslide, the sliding of the vines in the spring when there's rain. Are those vines, can you salvage those vines, or do you have to just rip them out and replant, or it depends?
You mean when slides?
When a frena, yeah.
Yeah, it depends a lot. We had a small slide in the new vineyard this year. We basically saved all the vines, except for 2, I think. But if it's a bigger slide, you should take it off, and you can't explant and replant. They are not growing anymore. Yeah. Once you take out the roots, it's done. The vine is gone.
Okay, I think that's it. I think there's no more questions. Are the mudslides, somebody's asking right now, Frederic, are the mudslides something that have always happened there, or is it something that's more recent with weather pattern changes?
You mean the slide? What? Sorry, I didn't hear exactly.
Le frena.
Yeah. This always happened.
This
This
always
vineyard near the house, it has a big landslide in 1996.
Okay.
This is why we remade all the vineyards in that period, and this is why we decided to make the vines in this way.
Yeah.
It's very important to have a respectable to the land and to the hills, because if you try, the problem was in the 70s, big bulldozers come and they try to make the flat where there's no flat, and this makes a big problems because they move too much soil, and this makes the landslides. Then all the old vineyards now they are starting to move, and if they was made well with the good drainage, they take out water, then they stay. But in that period, they didn't make a big work for the water, and then now slowly everything is moving. That's a problem, but obviously we try to solve our problems. The problem is if you should take out everything, it's not a very easy work. The vineyard in whom you saw before, we take it out 2 years ago, then we start to move, but we make a very big drainage now to take out all the water. It's like you can fill a liter bottle in 2 minutes on the water is coming out now, even if it's dry.
Okay, Sasha, thank you so much. We're looking forward to the time that we can travel and come see it in person. And really, thank you. This was great. This was really, really great. Okay.
Thank you very much for
say hello to everybody for us, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Yeah, thank you very much. Bye, Kevin. Bye, everybody.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.